So, hello. Welcome to our talk about the migration from AngularJS to Angular. But first, selfie time.
Yay. Hibob. Flash.
Great. So, today, we heard about so many new features, tools, and new design patterns in Angular. But there is still a big elephant in the room. Which of you still using AngularJS codebase? Wow.
Hey.
So the rest can go. Because today we're going to show you our story about the migration from AngularJS to Angular, as we did in Hibob. And hopefully you'll find it useful and inspired to you or your company as well. So, first, we're going to talk about the part of ng upgrade. We're going to go over about the good part and the ugly part of this solution. And then, we're going to present you the possible solution we had. Finally, we're going to talk about our solution, the path we took for migration, and the reason we're all here. So, my name is Revital Friedman. I'm a web developer for the last 5 years, and now I am part of Hibob family. I am also one of the co-organizers of AngularJS, which helps women to learn Angular all over the world.
Hi, I'm Doron. I'm the UI architect at Hibob. A few words on Hibob if you haven't passed through our booth earlier. So we're creating tools to help companies better manage their employees and get a better employee engagement. So we have tools from core HR to more complicated features like talent management, performance management, automatic workflow, and AI with machine learning to get better insights on your company. Where is it? All right, so our story began once upon a time, about 3.5 years ago, in a small office in northern Tel Aviv. Angular 2 was still in beta versions, and the future of Angular was not really clear. All of our front-end developers already worked and love AngularJS, so investing in AngularJS seems like a valid option for us. But when we started, we were really ahead of our time. I mean, we were really cutting edge. We used Webpack as our build tool. We wrote ES6. We even wrote TypeScript while still in AngularJS, Angular component, and we used RxJS from day one. All this really helped us with the migration process. But this is the web. And after 3 years, all this amazing stuff became legacy, full of legacy services, ancient patterns, tools, and libraries.
So we understood as a company with advanced technologies that we should start writing in Angular. And we moved to hybrid app using ng upgrade, and we start to build new components and new pages in Angular. So adding ng upgrade gave us a lot of benefits. One of them was quickly develop Angular on production. Another benefit was using new libraries and tools that was not supported in AngularJS and help us to solve many problems like performance and watchers. Also, it gave us the ability to recruit new talent that would not join us without the new versions of Angular. But very fast we found ourselves facing new issues. Large bundle size due to the multiple frameworks and problems in lazy loading. We found ourselves in an upgrade-downward loop that was very hard to test and maintain. Running 2 Angular zones in parallel and the communication between Angular to AngularJS caused new bugs in the application. The context switch, when developed or test both AngularJS and Angular, slowed the development cycle and was painful. As you can see, some example, real example from Hibob app. The red box is the AngularJS, and the blue box is the Angular. As you can see, AngularJS inside the Angular, inside the AngularJS, inside the Angular. So of course, it was very hard to make the develop more complex. So we decided to check again. We decided to check a more common option for the migration. And as we said, the ng upgrade become a bad option for us because the complexity, the bundle size, and the lazy loading. We tried to check another option. One of them was the Angular element. And at that time, it was not good enough for us. We got a large bundle size, and there was no support for multiple browsers, and we got bad performance and complex share state. Having said that, it looks like Angular element might be a valid option for migration in the future.
Yeah, and the third option is rewrite. Now, this is by far the most time-consuming option, but at the end of this process, your application will be in the best state. So I thought how we can approach such a huge task with so many unknowns and no clear deadline. And by being a natural optimistic, I decided we must not look at it as a long and painful task that no one wants to do, and instead reframe it and celebrate the migration. Use this technology to actually solve the most problematic UI issues we have in our platform. This technology that usually hides all the changes, the pivots, the product experiments, and the wrong decisions we took along the way. I mean, the time between a startup company just starting to develop until it becomes a solid business with hundreds of customers and a growing R&D department leaves scars in the code. And like Jon Snow says, the code remembers. Yeah. So this is, I think, a very important idea that you should all take from this talk. Rewrites are part of our industry. Due to the rapid technology improvement, rewrites are part of our industry. And in order to ship better products to our clients, we'll have to rethink and rewrite meaningful parts of our application every 3 to 5 years. So the areas we wanted to fix along the way with this migration, just to name a few, we were missing a standard component library, which caused our application to have multiple components that does the same thing, and a non-unified user experience navigation between the apps. We wanted to shorten the development time that got slower due to the hybrid development mode that we were. We want to build unified state management, so we won't need to reinvent the wheel in every feature and understand how we store and fetch data. We want to fix performance issue and fix complex UI components that were hard to maintain or had really unclear user experience. We're also lacking decent mobile web experience. So we came up with a 3-steps plan, those which we'll cover deeply in the next few slides. These steps are not synchronously, and they're happening in parallel. The first one is building the new infrastructure. The second one is stop this upgrade-downgrade loop and create only in Angular. And the third one is migrating old code to the new app. So step one, the infrastructure. For this step, we assembled a core team that will write the new infrastructure while the rest of the feature team kept on working as they did before and releasing new feature and fixes issue in the application. This is what gave us the time to actually rethink, rewrite, come up with new solutions because there was no really effect on the real application. We decided that every component or service that we think should be redesigned was supposed to be in this step. So the next steps of the migration will be really fast. Okay, so I'll cover a few things we did in this step. We created our own UI component library, and we powered it with Storybook for a better discovery. We have here from really simple components like text and buttons to a really complex one like data grid and complex user interfaces. We created shared libraries that wrap these dumb UI components with some business logic. We created the new monorepo that handled the new apps and new shared libraries. We created our own custom light store framework, and when we started the migration, we thought maybe we'll use NGRX or other Redux-like library, and we understood that we're just in the beginning of this migration process. We are really in a really deep hole right now, and we thought that introducing a new library that is really a change of design paradigms will just make our hole even deeper. So we created our own custom light with lazy loading and powered by RxJS. We created other really important building blocks that are going to help us for the rest of the migration. All right, so step 2. Step 2 happened in parallel to step 1, while enough building blocks are ready, stable, and they can be used for the other teams. In this step, all the rest of the feature teams stopped doing this upgrade, downgrade, spaghetti madness, and wrote only in Angular, using the already made UI component library and shared libraries. This by itself gave us a lot of benefits because now the developer experience got much better, and also the development cycle got much faster. Also, when some team needed the UI components, it was not ready yet, they would just go to the UI component, edit, and move on. This gave us, in a really short time, many new UI components in our library.
The pre-migration step. A few words before the migration. The architecture here was to load 2 applications in parallel and let them communicate via iframe. The solution has some performance drawback because the state between the 2 apps is not shared. Therefore, we had multiple server calls for the same resource. In order to make the user experience not too annoying, we identify for which pages are mandatory to move to the new app. So, the final step, the migration. This is the most problematic step because some performance and UX issue happen due to the split of 2 production apps in parallel. That's why we want this step to be as fast as we can. No major design changes should be during this step. Most of the team migrate using the already made tools, while other teams still in phase 2 and keep releasing the new stuff in the AngularJS using ng upgrade. We set solid goals for which pages we move and which pages we stay in the AngularJS application, because they are less important or already planned to change soon.
Okay, so to summarize what we just talked about, rewrite is a valid option for migration. And when you do it, take your time, invest in the new infrastructure, create a UI component library, and try to fix other important and problematic issues you have in your current application. Use ng upgrade and use it in order to release new features while you're doing the migration. And when you migrate, do it as fast as you can with minimal changes. The goal in this step is to migrate your code and not to fix the whole application.
So, if you have any question or other migration ideas, we would love to hear about it. And remember, don't afraid to rewrite. Celebrate it. Thank you.
Yeah.